Neighbours, Godspeed. Welcome to Sonnet Sisters. My name is Anna and today we will be analysing Shakespeare's sonnet number 25.
What was he on about? My body, mister, come figure it out with the Sonnet Sisters.
Let those who are in favour with their stars of public honour and proud titles boast, whilst I, whom fortune of such triumph bars, unlooked for joy in that I honour most. Great princes' favourites their fair leaves spread, but as the marigold at the sun's eye, and in themselves their pride lies buried, for at a frown they in their glory die. The painful warrior famoused for might, after 1,000 victories once foiled, is from the book of honour razed quite, and all the rest forgot for which he toiled. Then happy I, that love and am beloved, where I may not remove nor be removed.
What is the meaning of this?
Okay, let's chat. First impressions. This sonnet says to me, I don't need fame or praise. I am quite happy with steady, mutual appreciation. There are some running themes in this sonnet which are kind of glaringly obvious. There's glory, pride, and I think satisfaction. In terms of imagery, it's all very grand. We have stars, warriors, death, and a book of honour. Everything is very epic. The imagery mixed with the structure and the rhythm of this sonnet make it a very rich, indulgent, lip-licking, satisfying thing to say. It sounds lovely. However, the rhythm is occasionally a little bit forced, which brings out this undertone of the lady doth protest too much. The tone of this sonnet is a bit of a mixture of things. We've got this framework of control, this air of steady, controlled, defined. A decision has been made, and yet there's this undertone of longing and nostalgia and yearning and perhaps bitterness in relation to old ambitions that haven't quite been met. And we've got two kind of pockets of things. We've got this royal high imagery, this world of transience, which is a huge running theme in the sonnets, and then we've got this little pocket down here which is about things that have been determined, stability, steadfastness, faithfulness, all in this lovely little neat locked box. Okay, so now let's look at a few specific meanings of words and phrases. In line 2, of means from, so to make this make sense we have to read lines 1 and 2 together. Let those who are in favour with their stars of public honour and proud titles boast. So these people are getting their stars, maybe fame or benefits, from public honour, high regard. In line 3, triumph means exaltation or celebration. So my fortune, my standing, my achievements are not quite as exalted, they're not quite as celebrated. Line 4 has a nice little phrase, unlooked for, which could mean a range of things. Could mean unexpectedly, surprisingly, like unlooked for, without looking for this thing I stumbled upon it. Or it could mean overlooked or disregarded, so I unlooked for blah blah blah. And this is where it would have been really helpful, Will, if you'd added in some more punctuation, but you haven't. Or maybe you did and your editors edited it out. And I say your editors, I mean the editors of time. I feel it might read a little nicer if it went unlooked for, comma, joy in that I honour most. Which leads me to the rest of line 4, joy in that I honour most. I took this to mean I take pleasure in the things that I hold dear, that I choose to honour, be faithful to, the things that I invest my time in, or the things that I consider most worthy of honour. In line 5, leaves is said to mean petals. So great princes' favourites their fair leaves spread. I'm guessing the princes, the nobles, favourite people, chosen ones, the elite, the it gang, peacocked. But as the marigold at the sun's eye, line 6, what does that mean? Marigolds open in response to the sun. So these people are showing off or opening or blooming in response to what they consider their sun, the prince or whoever they're trying to impress. And without the sun or prince or impressee, their pride, their value is hidden. In line 9, painful means full of pain, in pain, suffering pain. So the painful warrior might mean an injured warrior. And famoused means made famous. So famoused for might mean they have become famous because of their power, their strength, their valour. All these things and or worth, which was apparently the original word used in the place where we now see might. So editors have taken it upon themselves to adjust this word to effect a perfect rhyme scheme. So might rhymes with quite, and it's interesting that they've done this because they're placing aesthetic values over truth and accuracy of the copying of this sonnet, the passing on of the sonnet, which kind of seems in conflict with the message of the sonnet. Moving on to line 10, we have foiled, which just means defeated. In line 11 we have razed, which means erased. In line 14 we're introduced to one of my favourite items in etymology. We have the word removed, which is here used as moved away from, or to remove oneself is to move away, to, in context, be unfaithful. So I guess the modern equivalent would be to stray. So allow me to present you with the Anna version of this sonnet. Let people with fame and fortune boast, while I, prevented from these privileges, unexpectedly find pleasure in the things I hold dear and am faithful to. Or, if you would like to add that pesky comma, while I, prevented from these privileges and ignored, find pleasure in the things I hold dear. Those held in high public regard may peacock, but only with brief flares of energy. Their pride is buried inside themselves, because all it takes to make them wilt is one disapproving look. The injured soldier, famous for their strength, even after 1,000 victories, would be discarded after one failure or defeat, and everything he worked for would be forgotten. Considering this, meanwhile, I am perfectly happy just being in a mutually loving, stable, faithful relationship. So this sonnet is super fun. Its message is fairly simple, and it's one that we hear a lot in sort of affirmations, in self-help books about how to live better lives, more rewarding, satisfying lives. It has this energy about it which is involved in re-evaluating oneself and rebirthing oneself, and there's this preachy element to that, and there's also an undertone of bitterness, and this really appeals to me personally because I am in my 30s and somehow yet am not full-time acting on a West End stage. I do, however, now have a cat, partner and house, and life is pretty cosy and comfortable, so I have a lot to be grateful for. And yes, it stings when I think about the idea of settling. So there's a lot in this sonnet to unpack in a modern context. I think particularly in the Western world, we are constantly being told to strive, to do better, to compare. You are being told constantly to compare yourself to others and to keep climbing that ladder desperately and, you know, prove yourself to yourself, which I think is quite a huge theme to explore. So I'm really excited about everything that this sonnet throws up. And a final note on fortune or privilege. A lot of people in today's world talk about privilege as if it's something they don't have, when actually they kind of do. And I think it would be important in a modern performance or reinterpretation of this sonnet to infuse the text with that fact. So I would like to do that. We'll see if I can do that. So in the comments below, tell me what you think of this sonnet. Tell me if you have settled. Tell me if you will never settle. Tell me if you are one of these preening peacocks for great noble princes. Tell me if you are in a lovely relationship where you are loved and beloved and cannot remove or be removed. That's all for this analysis video. I feel like I may have blasted through this a little bit, but I got really excited because the themes I found really invigorating and so relevant, and it's just such a beautiful sonnet. Shakespeare, you did good. focus on my face.